Right, so welcome once again. Sanja is with me in this mindfulness awareness practice. So you can also come along here. Mindfulness awareness practice, I think it's second year, if I'm not mistaken. Last year, we learned a lot about from the participants' feedback and from our own experience, what went right and what didn't, and how to fix things. So this year, I think we had more active participants than last year. Participants learn about mindfulness, of course, and they develop a mindfulness awareness practice, which is called a formal practice. They also learn about informal mindfulness and how to include it in their daily activities. And we'll be talking a little bit about that in this session, in this presentation. They keep a personal diary throughout the session, throughout the 5 weeks, and reflect on each of their activities and their progress, how they feel about the practice that they did during the week and more. I think they enjoyed the journaling activity very much. Mindfulness awareness practice session was on a Moodle platform, which has a diary activity embedded within the LMS, which made it a lot easier. You can go into the session right now or after today and visit as a guest. You'll be able to see all the activities and resources that are available there. You won't be able to take part in the discussions, but you'll be able to view everything because it's open for the next couple of months. I'd like to award everyone a gift. I think Sanja has it already. I don't know if you started it, Sanja.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, you didn't hear me?
No, just for a second. You said,
okay.
Sanja, if you...
Sanja, yes, already has the gift, the balance.
Yes.
Sanja, if you can... if you can click on it and share it with everyone, you can see that if you can just copy and paste to www.balanceapp.com, referral social. It's a free 1-year mindfulness practice so that you can learn more about it. And here we are. This is a little bit about me and what I've done and what I'm currently doing, and hopefully we'll continue doing with immersive technologies. That's the latest thing that I'm really looking forward to in Greece at a distance. Of course, I'm not going to be living in Greece. And Sanja is my co-moderator, who is also a student, and she'll be sharing a little bit about what it was like to be a student, as well as a moderator on mindfulness awareness practice. She's an EFL teacher with 32 years of experience and Microsoft certified educator, as well as the upcoming lead of the EVO coordination team.
Thank you for the introduction, Nellie.
63 participants from 35 countries registered for this, which means that mindfulness is something that I guess teachers heard about, are interested in. Not everyone is ready for mindfulness. They may come back next year, but there were 63 who registered. Only 15 started the mindfulness awareness practice session. So we had 15 participants in the introduction. The others did not do anything. They just registered and that was it. And 9 completed all the activities and were awarded the certificates. These were the reflections, and it was heartwarming. I don't know if anyone's here from...
Yes, Pooja is here. I can see
so
her.
Pooja. So which one is Pooja? Do you remember from...
Yes, the one with the parrot.
Which one?
The one with the parrot. The Moscow, I think, Macau bird on her shoulder. That was mine.
Okay, so amazing reflections. I think, we talked about bonding. There was a lot of bonding as a result, I think, of the journaling. Maybe Pooja, maybe you can tell me why we got so close as as moderators and participants, everybody seemed to connect with everyone. There was, this ongoing connection. The weekly tasks in week 1, of course, there were the introductions, and we discussed mindfulness and education, and there was reading. The reading was not required, but it helped with the discussion so that participants, and they did read using Aminote, which is also a Moodle plugin where they could annotate collaboratively or individually. They also took a look at some free resources that were available. Mindfulness can be done with music, without music, guided or not guided for the formal mindfulness.
Sorry to interrupt, Nellie. I wanted to add one more thing to week 1, and I think it was really useful speaking as a moderator and participant at the same time. During week 1, we not only get acquainted with mindfulness and free resources, but also with the platform. And what you did in week 1 was really useful. You incorporated some tasks that involved getting to know the platform well, 2 hour tasks related to mindfulness, and that made it easier for everyone in weeks to come to participate and to feel relaxed using the platform. We could focus on the topic.
Thank you for mentioning that, because I'm a believer in students creating their own content and peer learning. The opportunity, the fact that they had to look, and they use screen recorders, they had to look at the platform and see what was there, helped one another because they could learn from each other. I mean, one person may have focused on one aspect of the platform, and then the others followed suit, and others focused on something else. So they really did learn from one another. And yes, that has a connecting and a bonding
yes. And that helped that in week 2, everybody could focus on mindfulness and not how to use the platform, how to get to the tasks.
That's the idea, I think, of EVO, that in week 1, you're introduced to each other, the platform, and the moderators. In week 2, we focused on research and mindfulness, reading with Aminote, and the participants presented their findings. And I love this because, again, we were able to learn from one another. And this was peer learning at its best. They created the presentations using Canva, and they were able to learn from one another or other tools that we offered them. They had a choice of tools to use, whatever they felt comfortable with, so that they can create presentations using images only. They didn't use text because I think it's more effective to express yourself. And they used voice in the presentation. They recorded their voice with Canva. It's quite easy. With other tools, it may have been a little trickier. They also watched a video on changing habits by Fogg called Tiny Habits. They loved it. And I can see why, because it's a wonderful technique on how to change habits. And mindfulness is about changing habits and learning to take care of yourself in a different way. Yes, Sanja?
And we all love the idea that you can change by choosing a tiny habit to add to your existing habits, and that can lead to a major change. That's something everybody can do. That's really something that you can aim and you can start doing immediately. And what added to our feeling of accomplishment is that everybody kept adding their own habits, their own ideas to the discussion. And there were 15 of us, so new ideas brought new things in everybody's lives.
Exactly. Thank you for that. In week 3, we focused on formal mindfulness, and we discussed the differences between informal and formal based on the readings. Or if they didn't want to use the readings, they could also search for information. We also had a chat GPT as part of the course. It was within the course. It's a plugin on Moodle. Again, it's a block for those who are interested. So they were able to also get information straight from the chat GPT, and I think they liked that. They
And-
also gave, yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add that in week 3, a journal became a really important part of our session. It became a habit.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that, Sanja. That's wonderful. That's one of the advantages of a moderator actually going through the session and getting the benefits and learning. They also were required to give live events to each other if they work collaboratively, or to a family member, or to their students, or to their colleagues, peers, and so on, using Zoom or Jitsi, which are both free. Sorry about the typo there. And then they practiced formal mindfulness. Week 4, we discussed practical tips and tricks on the various applications on how to use mindfulness, the technology, and then they practiced mindfulness awareness techniques. And of course, the journal. Each week they had journal writing. Some of them wrote more than once in their journal, and that was wonderful. Week 5, of course, is showcase and reflect. So they presented and showcased their work using screen recorders with their voice and all their work, and that was really amazing. The Voki reflections were powerful, and I really enjoyed that. And of course, the course feedback. So what is mindfulness in just a few words? It's not accepting, but it's seeing what is there. It's not trying to change anything. It's working with what is. And that's the kind of acceptance. You can make changes, of course. You can change the way you are. But first, the idea is to look at yourself, look at your surroundings, see how you relate to them, and work with what is before you make a change so that things will work better and you'll be less stressed in the process. So it's about having a choice, about not pushing things away or trying to want something too much. It's first looking at what is and accepting circumstances for what they are when we can't change them. Mindfulness awareness practice is about sharpening your mind, your thinking, the quality of your life. And this has been documented through MRI studies and other research. It's looking at things through a microscope, both microscope and in a macro way, and turning on the awareness. That's what it's about. It's about being aware. What it does is it allows you to practice listening to all the commentaries that go through your mind, but not judging it, not judging yourself, not judging your thoughts, and realizing that your thoughts are not you, ultimately. Your thoughts are your thoughts, and they're generated automatically, just like your heartbeat. You have no control. Circumstances that you may not have any control over. So just paying attention to them, not judging them, and learning to first live with them, and then making changes if that's what you want to do. Mindfulness can be done anywhere. You can do it while washing the dishes. You can do it while walking, while eating, of course, eating mindfully. These are different ways that you can learn to be mindful. But formal mindfulness helps you gain that technique, that habit. So what happens as a result of mindfulness, according to research, and I can attest to that, because I've been doing mindfulness for over 30 years. I stopped counting at some point. You learn to accept things and not fight them when you can't. And fights don't really work, do they? It just makes you feel more stressed and anxious. Less resistance, less self-talk, less ruminations when things don't go your way. And you see clarity. You see situations for what they are. And you may feel pain, but there's less suffering with the pain. And the commentaries about the past and future plans and so on. They're not as loud as they were before, and your fear lessens. There's more joy as you learn to view circumstances that are out of your control, and you become more efficient as a result. You can do a lot more if you wish. Your health improves, and healing is a lot faster. So these are some of the benefits. This is just a summary of the benefits, and you can read them as we go.
And I could add, Nellie,
Yes.
what I think everybody in the session liked, the image that we had in one of the week's presentations, that when you are on the plane, the instructions tell you, if you want to help people around you, you need to put the oxygen mask first to your own face to help yourself. As teachers, we need to think about that. If we want to help our students, we need to help ourselves first, and our mental health should come first. Then we can help our students, and our students need us healthy and focused.
Exactly. And that's where I think I didn't mention it, but teachers were able to also create lessons and try mindfulness in their classes. And there were some amazing results from the participants. I recall one that mentioned she, after she practiced, I think it was in week 4, after 4 weeks of doing mindfulness awareness practice, one of her students, one of her problematic students in a K-12 class, I think it was a high school class, started his usual misbehavior and started yelling and screaming. She went up to him and she just did the pause. I think you recall that. There's a pause technique. She paused. She looked at the student. She breathed, she took a breath in through her nose and breathed through her mouth. And she did that 3 times. And miraculously, as we all know, the student stopped, and she was able to tell the student, okay, we'll talk later. And the student was quiet, and she was shocked. She was shocked that her behavior is what influenced the student. And that's what it's about, as you mentioned, Sanja, that we first take care of ourselves. And once we have the techniques, we don't have to teach mindfulness in the classroom. We can just model it, and the students react to it immediately. You walk into the classroom, you smile at them, you take a deep breath, you don't do anything, and they're looking at you. It's amazing at the results of what can happen in the classroom when a teacher has practiced the technique. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone. Please come next year.
I wanted just one thing to add, the help of various apps that we used, and one of them is Balance. I wanted to share in the chat. You mentioned it, and I will
share the link.
Yes, I can share the link.
Free.
Here it is, because it's free, and I find it really useful.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sanja. So mindfulness, how? Well, the formal mindfulness is a sitting mindfulness where you sit, and it's really simple. You don't have to close your eyes, by the way, because we want to mimic real life. And closing your eyes tells your mind that you want to kind of put a veil over the world. No, we're facing reality. That's what mindfulness is about. It's about facing things as they are and becoming resilient. So you sit, eyes open or closed as you wish, but open is better once you get used to it. And you just pay attention to your breath as you breathe. You pay attention to that. And if thoughts come, and they will, lots of thoughts, at the beginning, you'll get a lot of them. Eventually, you learn to live with them so they don't seem as strong. And then you just pay attention to them and you come back to the breath. So the exercise, the practice in formal mindfulness is to pay attention to your breath, to your breathing. Thoughts come and you come back. That's how you get your muscles working and stronger and stronger. And you can do this with activities. Whatever you do, walking, washing the dishes, sitting, just sitting, which is not an activity, but whatever you're doing, driving, focus on what you're doing, eating, focus on the food that you're eating, on the plate, on the utensils. If you're driving, focus on the road. That's mindful driving. And being mindful with your activities will prevent accidents. Trust me, this has been documented as well. And talking, which is a lot harder, to talk mindfully with your students. When you're talking to them, you're not talking at them. So pay attention to them, to yourself, to the whole activity. And of course, disagreements. When you're disagreeing with someone, pay attention. Do it mindfully so that you're there. And that's the idea. The idea is to be there. You can visit the course, as I mentioned. The link is here, and the presentation is already available for everyone to view. We awarded 59 digital badges. Not all the participants completed. 3 of them were in Turkey. Well, actually 4, 1 completed, but she did this later on when the session ended, and the other 3 did not complete it for various reasons, but they mentioned that it really helped them during the horrific event in Turkey. And certificates, 9 received certificates. 2, I didn't give, I did give myself, I see there, my name is there, but Sanja got hers as well, the certificate for moderating. These were some of the interactive presentation slide tools that the participants could choose to use as they explained what the differences between formal and informal mindfulness. And these are the curation boards where they added all the information, everything that they learned, if they wished. This wasn't a requirement. And of course, the video screen recorders that they could choose from, whether on their phones or on their desktops. These were the references. I try to get as many recent ones as possible. I think Young, on what is mindfulness was one of the questions in week 1. And the participants found, I think I remember, Sanja, you mentioned that you enjoyed in the final course reflect feedback that you enjoyed Young's work very much. Mm-hmm. So thank you, everyone who took the session and are here, because this enabled us to learn with and from you. Now for the Q&A, I think we've got a bit of time. 2 minutes.
A few minutes, but no questions, just thank yous in the chat. If there are questions, you can put them in the chat.
Or you can unmute yourself.
Sure.
If you'd like.
If there are no questions, I would just like to recommend this session because of the balance between the topic of mindfulness, which is really important for teachers, us teachers, and the use of digital tools that can help us both in our mindfulness practice as individuals and to use with our students.
I could ask you a question, Sanja. What do you prefer? Sure. Guided meditation, music meditation, or silent meditation?
I still prefer guided because it gives me some format to my meditation. I dedicate a certain time to meditation, and I like it guided. I like the bells when we talk about sounds. But talking about informal meditation, this session has taught me how to be present all the time. And I I can say that I now enjoy walking to my place of work. I enjoy some everyday activities that I had never thought about. I find different meaning in them, and I'm much calmer and more focused.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Right. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone next year, if you can come. And that's it. So thank you. Thank you, Sanja, and everyone.
Thank you.